And now we are joined by Miles Branman, one of our DT Auto editors here to talk about the Jeep Rubicon, this new Jeep. I really want it, and I'm excited to take a look at Miles' video, but let's bring him on right now. Hello, Miles.
Hey, Greg, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks so much for hopping on here today. Now, I gotta ask, since you are, work in the auto industry, you go around and you check out all of these different cars, where are you at right now?
Oh, right now I'm in Southern California. It's kind of the home for Automotive at this point. I've got great access to vehicles out here, and year-round we can get all things from your average sedan to supercars. So it's a great place to be.
And there are so many great videos that you've posted, on digital trends and your articles covering all of these. But let's get in and talk about this one right now. So this new Jeep Wrangler. I have personally, honestly, I've always wanted a Jeep, and so seeing some of your coverage of this and reading your review, I'm like, I already want it. But from your perspective, why don't we walk through what this one is, maybe what's different than previous, and how you want to talk about it.
For sure, yeah. I actually owned a Jeep Wrangler. I owned the last generation JK Wrangler, so getting into this new one was really special for me because I was able to see the huge differences they've made over one generation, and it's pretty dramatic. Even before the Jeep guys brought over this last version that I was able to try last week, I got to see really just how the Rubicon version of the truck had elevated itself in terms of off-road capability. But really the news with the new Wrangler is its livability, how easy it is to use it as a daily driver, so comfortable, so much new technology that's been baked into this truck. And they've done it all very thoughtfully. They thought about the user of the car and how they might want to interact with the vehicle every day. They know that the user wants that off-road capability, but every day they're sitting in traffic, they're using their smartphone with the Apple CarPlay and things like that. So they baked all that stuff in to make it so much better of a daily driver vehicle. So, fuel economy is up 30% compared to the last generation Wrangler. So much more technology, a nice big infotainment screen in the truck. It's got a mild hybrid system that helps with off-the-line acceleration and stop-start capability. So many advanced safety features in this vehicle now. So, it's really cool what they've done over just one generation of the truck.
I really like that idea, of maintaining what we all love about Jeeps, but adding in that element into it and not feeling like you're sacrificing anything for that. Well, we have the video, so you went out on site. Let's kind of give just a little bit of an intro to where it was that you went for this.
Yeah, sure. Honestly, nothing really special about where I was. Kind of close to me in Southern California. I've already taken the new Wrangler Rubicon to some trails out here off-road and shown that it is very much the Wrangler we all know and love. You can still take off the doors. It's still body on frame. It's still solid axles, 2-speed transfer case. It can do all the things that we want out of a Wrangler. But this opportunity was one to really see the technologies, the safety features, and the powertrain developments for the new Wrangler. So we had right here a 2-liter turbo version of the Wrangler that has a mild hybrid system for assistance with the stop-start technology and off-the-line acceleration. It gives a benefit of up to 70 pound-feet of torque right when you're just coming off the line. So while you're waiting for that turbocharger to spool up, this is giving you that extra bit of torque right off the line. So it's a really cool system, and it aids fuel economy in the end. So that's the vehicle that we have in this clip.
Well, let's go ahead and roll it. We'll take a look at this, and then Miles is going to stick right here with us while we watch this video, and we'll come back and we can take your comments and questions if you have some that you want to ask about this. We've got Miles right here, but why don't we go ahead and roll the video right now.
Hey, Digital Trends Live fans, I'm Miles Branman, and I'm here with Brandon and Brian. Brian is the Chief Vehicle Engineer for the new Wrangler, and Brandon is the Brand Manager for the Jeep Gladiator. We're not going to talk too much about the Gladiator today, but I'm going to use both of their knowledge to discuss this new Jeep Wrangler and all the technologies that are debuting in this vehicle. Some really cool stuff that you may not expect from the Wrangler, but that is definitely interesting, especially for us. So let's get into it. Brian, you want to kick us off with talking about the Wrangler?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to start with the powertrain that's in this vehicle. So we initially launched with the 3.6 liter, but a few months ago we launched the 2-liter e-torque, which is a mild hybrid system. So we'll open up the hood and talk a little bit about it. So this engine, it's what we call the Genie T4. So it's our next generation of 4-cylinder engines. It's a direct inject turbocharged engine. We've been saying this is kind of a neat engine to put in this vehicle. It kind of harkens back to the heritage of the original MBs and Willys, which were all 4-cylinder engines. But we bring that back with some 21st century technology and what we need to do to have the capability necessary. So when we wanted to put this engine in the vehicle, I know there was some concern putting a turbocharged engine in a Wrangler when its main goal and what it has to do is off-road, and you could have turbo lag, and we have to get beyond that. So the main things you want this to do, certainly in an off-road environment, you need it to be linear, you need it to be controllable. So up front, when we were talking about the mission of this engine, it was performance, have it be on road. It has a nice drive to it. It certainly needs the capability off-road, and we need something that is environmentally conscious. It's environmentally friendly. It helps our customers with fuel economy. So that was the task we set out. So this is a dual overhead cam engine. It's a dual scroll low emission turbo, so going after that linear aspect that we were talking about. That's what gets beyond the turbo lag. So if you're doing rock crawling, for instance, and you're going up an event, the last thing you want is all of a sudden the turbo starts to spool as you step in, and you kind of launch off the rock. It's an unexpected action of the vehicle. We did a lot of work with our powertrain calibration friends, our controls friends, the development team on the engine to make sure that's nice and linear. This engine, it's mated up to our 8-speed transmission, which is consistent with what's in the 3.6 liter as well as in our Ram and Grand Cherokee vehicles. So if you have this engine mated to that transmission, and then if you look at our final drive and transfer case, we have a great crawl ratio. So when we're going down the trail with this engine, the crawl ratio allows us to just kind of creep down. This makes great low-end torque, even naturally aspirated. You don't have to be into boost, so you can walk over the events. But in the small instances when you might need boost, it's very, very linear, and you can walk over the event. Nothing unexpected for you. Now the other big part of this particular powertrain, we have a mild hybrid. So mated to the 2-liter is a 48-volt system that goes in. In our 48-volt system, it's a belt start generator, meaning you have a unit that via belt is connected to the crankshaft. So your 12-volt alternator goes away, so the traditional 12-volt no longer exists here, and we have what we call an MGU, which is a motor generator unit. That motor generator unit, it's kind of like an alternator on steroids. So it can actually supply torque into the crankshaft. We can do up to 70 foot-pounds of torque that goes directly into the crank. So we have a handful of things that this system will do and improve upon. So the big thing is start-stop and the relative smoothness of start-stop. A lot of people hear like a starter engage on the 12-volt system. This does not have that anymore. The engine just starts, so there's no noise from a starter going up. It just restarts the engine. It has torque filling capability. So when we say that it has up to 71 or 70 foot-pounds of input into the crank, that's not additive beyond the engine. So this engine makes 295 foot-pounds by itself. It's not like now we make over 350 foot-pounds. It's for the instances when the engine is just starting up before it can make torque. We can supply torque into the crankshaft to supplement what's going on. The same thing is true when you're driving down the road and we want to schedule a shift event. If you shift from 3rd gear to 4th gear, what we typically do is drop the torque of the engine so the clutches can do their thing, the transmission can work, and you have a smooth, there's not the clunking that goes on. This can actually supply torque in during those transition states that helps smooth out everything going on. Another big aspect is regenerative braking. So when you are slowing down, we have the ability with the MGU to kind of clamp down on the crankshaft, and it will supply energy into the 48-volt system. You can recover some of that energy, and then you can use it for powertrain braking. So in instances such on the trail, you come up and over an event and now you're going down the backside. A lot of people want powertrain braking. And when you have powertrain braking, you don't need the brakes. The powertrain's slowing you down. And with the regenerative braking, we can actually clamp down on the crankshaft a little bit more to slow us down even that much more. And then the last thing this system does is actually runs the rest of the electrical components via 12 volts. So the only thing that's 48 volt in this whole setup is the MGU leading back to our power pack unit. Everything else is 12 volt. It's just the traditional system. We have a 12 volt battery. We run the radio. We run all the electronics in the vehicle off the 12 volt. So that is up front with the MGU. If we go around to the back of the vehicle, the other part, one part of the system is the MGU up front. Then we have what's called the PPU, or the power pack unit. Inside the PPU is a lithium-ion battery, and we also have a DC to DC converter, which is what takes that 48 volts and makes it the 12 volts. The packaging for this, it's actually under the vehicle. So down low, we have the power pack unit is packaged here. You can see underneath, we've got a skid plate on there. Obviously, when we go to put electronics like that in an environment like a Wrangler, we have to make sure it's protected. So it's in a casing that it can basically withstand getting high centered on rocks. It can take a beating. We also know that this vehicle has to go through water. So it's 30 inches of water fording. It has to be watertight. So all the seals, everything going in is sealed up completely. We do testing where we do mud packing. So we'll put 2,500 pounds of mud that get accumulated on this vehicle. Then we have to pressure wash the whole vehicle. So it has to withstand all of that, all of those extreme environments of starting at minus 30 degree ambient temperature. It has to run when it's 130 degree ambient temperature outside. It goes through water, it goes through mud, it can climb over rocks. So we had to ensure that this vehicle, even though it has the advanced technologies that our customers expect and will benefit them from a fuel economy and performance standpoint, it still has to remain true to the core of what a Wrangler is, and that's namely the capability aspects.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, and one interesting sum up of what, as I was hearing you talk about your testing and you're kind of making sure that the electrical components are ready for what a Wrangler owner wants out of their truck, the capabilities they want, is that you're basically doing what some of these, maybe Tesla when they come out with an all-electric pickup truck, or Rivian with their new one, they're having to do all this testing, but you've already done that effectively with the Wrangler to make sure that you have this mild hybrid system that's going to work in all these conditions. So I think that's one of the really cool components about what you were talking about here. And I'm going to switch over to Brandon for a second, maybe talk about the safety features that are on the 2018 and maybe some of the ones that are coming for 2019.
Yeah, and I mean, it used to be in the past that when you owned a Wrangler, you had to make compromises, and that's no longer the case, right? So with the new Wrangler JL, you still get the off-road capability, you still get the open air freedom, everything you expect in a Wrangler, but we've added new 21st technology to it. And part of that is safety. So we have optional blind spot monitoring, rear cross path detection, and rear park assist. And new for 2019 model year, we have adaptive cruise control and forward collision warning.
That's awesome. Is the adaptive cruise control for just the 8-speed automatic or for the manual as well?
You can get it on both the 8-speed automatic and the 6-speed manual.
That's really cool.
And so that is actually going to be housed right behind the windshield, right in front of the rear view mirror. And typically most manufacturers, they put that equipment right in front of the grill, the front bumper, and we know Wrangler owners, they love to modify, they love to customize their vehicles. And they love to put on different grills, different bumpers, winches, all that. And so we couldn't put those sensors and those cameras in the front of the vehicle. We had to put them behind the windshield. And you can still fold down the windshield with that safety equipment. And the adaptive cruise control with the automatic, it's going to go down to a full stop. And with the manual transmission, it'll go down to 15 miles per hour. So pretty advanced technology for a Wrangler.
That's awesome. And the only other thing I really wanted to spend a couple seconds on is the Uconnect system, because I know I'm a previous Wrangler owner. I had a JK, and one of the things was it felt like such an old vehicle when I was inside the car. but with the Uconnect system now, it's a much more technologically advanced vehicle. Feels like a modern car in all senses of the word. So maybe you can just talk me through what we have with the Uconnect system, what capabilities, and I know it has micro USB-C ports as well as USB-C. That's really good stuff.
Correct, yeah. So we have 3 Uconnect systems on the Wrangler. We have our 5-inch, our 7-inch, and our 8.4-inch. This Wrangler Sahara is equipped with our 8.4-inch, and that offers off-road pages, navigation, and the 7-inch and 8.4-inch are enabled for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And we have up to 7 USB ports in the Wrangler as well. So it used to be people asked how many cup holders were in their vehicle, and now they ask how many USB ports do you have? And Wrangler has 7. So we have USB ports for the driver as well as for all the passengers. So whenever you need to charge a device, you can find a USB port to do that.
That's awesome. Thank you, Brandon. So yeah, that is the 2018 Jeep Wranglers. All the cool technology, especially on this 2-liter mild hybrid system. This is the Sahara version. There's so many different variants. All of them have great stuff on it. Thank you for watching, guys, and thank you, Brian and Brandon, for sharing your knowledge on the vehicle. Yeah, definitely, if you haven't checked out our review of the Wrangler Rubicon, be sure to see that on digitaltrends.com/cars. All right, guys, I'm Miles Branman. Thanks for watching, DT Live fans.
All right, Miles, that was a great video. I want to say it's being acknowledged that Waste Management could have picked a better time. Just try to do that right in the back.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You know, I mean, that's the thing when you're out there shooting something live, you can't control any of that. Well, let's talk about the car. So I saw a couple of questions that came through from some people, and I believe it was George wanted to clarify what the miles per gallon were on this, or is.
So for the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with a mild hybrid system, it's 22 mpg combined. Compare that to the regular 3.6-liter Pentastar V6, which makes 20 mpg. It's a nice little bump there. And again, that 22 mpg is 30% better than the last generation JK. So it's a big jump there.
Yeah, that's a huge improvement over the last one. And again, since we are live, if you have other questions too, please drop those in there and I'll make sure that we get to those. Justin's asking, what's a guy got to do to get a Jeep Gladiator sweatshirt? I don't know if we can help you on that one, but I bet Jeep could.
Yeah, they probably could.
Well, any other comments that you wanted to make just about this, just being out there with it, you know, now that we've seen the video?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it in the live video, but I kind of want to just reiterate that as these electric vehicle manufacturers are exploring pickup trucks and off-road vehicles, I mean, we saw Rivion's concept at the LA Auto Show, which is hugely impressive, a massive battery, big ranges, and a lot of, crazy acceleration times. You got to think about how these vehicles are going to be used. So what Jeep has done by making sure that all the electrical components are able to withstand the mud packing and the low temperatures and all the crazy conditions that a Jeep Wrangler owner might put their vehicle through, they're kind of already testing those components. So it's cool when you hear about Rivian and Tesla testing their stuff and you're imagining that they're going through these same sort of tests, and Jeep's already kind of doing that, even though it's only a mild hybrid system. So it's cool to see if these tests are already in place. And I'm really excited to see what the pure EV pickup trucks and SUVs are going to look like.
Yeah, I was reading some of the reviews just about the Rivian. You're right. That is a really exciting area of where everything's going. I mean, this Jeep, just to acknowledge that too, like you said, they tested it in such extreme conditions, and having that shield underneath, at the base, just to make sure that it's protected throughout that, and a USB port for everybody is. I know seems like a small thing, but I love that idea.
Oh yeah.
We all want more USB ports. I think that's the number one thing. Well, Miles, thank you, for going out there and doing that. And again, you can check out this full review at digitaltrends.com. And Miles, how can people follow you? What's the best way, other than reading your articles on the site, but to follow your adventures? Because you're always off somewhere, reviewing these amazing cars, and it's really fun to follow along. What's the best way for people to do that?
Yeah, I mean, they threw it up there in the live video. My Twitter handle @milesper. Instagram is probably my best way of kind of keeping in touch with what I'm doing. Again, just @milesper. I do live video, Insta stories like every day, a bunch of them every day, and so that's kind of the day-to-day stuff that I'm doing. And I also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/milesper. So any of those means, but yeah, thanks for having me, Greg. This was really fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Miles. All right, so there you go. Follow along with Miles' adventures. And again, digitaltrends.com, we've got the reviews and everything that he's doing are all up there right now. You can read the extensive Jeep Rubicon review. I really, really want one.